Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for the support from the bottom of my heart. It means the world. I can't believe I'm getting this much traction and hearing your comments and stories and insights, guys. That's so phenomenal. Thank you so much. I do reply to every comment. I think it's super cool and it makes me super excited. I'm passionate about what I'm doing right now and responding and hearing your stories. It's so cool. Like, thank you guys. And it's nice to know that you guys aren't alone in your struggle, or I'm not alone in my own struggle. I know we're struggling all over this country and internationally. And I just want to let you know, guys, we're going to keep our chin up, keep on going. Today, we'll be talking about how Asian parenting has failed us. This is a topic that I've been thinking about for a very long time. It wasn't until like last night the dots kind of connected. I was like, whoa, how has the way I've been raised kind of impeded my levels of happiness and joy and success? And I think these were models that were given to me from my parents, or my mom specifically, and the cultural influence behind it. I've noticed there are some values that are very inherently great about Asian culture, but there are a lot of things that no longer serve you in 2022 or a little bit outdated. I think a lot of the struggles that Asian men do deal with kind of stem from the way our parents raised us and the values they have taught us and the ways to act. And I would say that maybe they did come from like the best intentions from your parents, but if you look at like your day-to-day, they kind of have impeded your confidence or making you shy or introverted and not aspiring to the levels of success, joy, and social skills that you would want to. I think the number one thing as I'm looking through Asian culture is the development of social skills. If I look at Asian men, the social skills or social awareness, it's typically a little behind compared to other cultures. Asian cultures, we interact with our family, but a lot of Asians are introverted, right? You interact with people you know, and it's very easy to interact with people you know. But do you interact with strangers or people you don't know? If you think about it, they're very close-knit communities, and people don't really come into them, right? They're all kind of like Asian people. You meet your cousins or your family friends, and then that's just kind of your social circle, your entire world. But there's never the opportunity to meet other people. In the Asian culture, we view outsiders as dangerous. And it's like this tribe mentality. It's like, we don't know who you are, who your family, and you might hurt or become a bad influence upon me. I think one of the number one things is realizing, like, growing up, my mom didn't let me hang out with certain kids who were not deemed as successful or bright or intuitive, which is, compared to Asian culture, like there's a lot of bad kids that I was not able to hang out with. And it wasn't just specific to any race, right? It was just kids who were outside having fun, who didn't necessarily pay attention to school, or they pursued music or sports or something outside of the standard occupations of doctor, lawyer, music, math, STEM, stuff like that. So if you don't interact with people outside of this whole realm, I mean, your worldview is very small. And if you think of pursuing STEM, mathematics, computer science, or these more rigid roles, there's never really the opportunity to develop, I guess, the social skills of talking and learning and being bright. People who technically are who are great at social skills and talking and being popular and socializing. I mean, these people typically are outside of these majors. I'm not saying they're not possible within the doctor lawyer scene, but within sports, right, they're like kind of the cool kids. You can talk to them and they have the social swab that these other areas are kind of missing. And I would say, like, not interacting with people who know how to properly communicate and just kind of understand like the lingo of stuff. It really kind of isolates you into this world of professional, being very professional. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But like, you can act professional at work, but you got to be able to interact with people outside of this professional scene, because a lot of your connections kind of come out from this. It's like, who are you outside of work? Who are you outside of your title? Who are you as a person? And that's one thing I would say that has hindered my ability. But I had to do a lot of making up for it on my own accord, or fight my family on it and be like, no, I'm hanging out with this guy. Yes, he might not be the brightest in school, but he raps or makes music or something that's very avant-garde at the time, right? But I'm very thankful I made those connections. Another thing is the influence of Asian parents. I'm not saying parents don't have an influence upon your kids, but in Asian culture specifically, it's very, very strong, right? It's like your family owns you. It's like the whole idea of like, when you marry a girl, you don't marry the girl, you marry the family. And your parents, your mother, especially your dad, has the number one say and has power and control over you. You are kind of viewed as an asset or their property, and you kind of have to do as you're told. I think the number one thing, of the romantic scene of how Asian parenting has failed us is, in the Asian culture, people marry very, very late. People marry in their early 30s, mid 30s, even late 30s. They're supposed to go to a good school, get a PhD, or get a master's, or get established into your role, or become a doctor or lawyer or something very professional. But these things take so much time to get comfortable in your career. And then once you reach the pinnacle and you have the pinnacle of your career and you have a ton of money and assets, then you go out and meet a girl and get married. But the thing is, how the fuck are you supposed to go and meet girls if you never talked to them for 30 plus years? Everyone thinks that once you get a good job, you have money, getting girls is super easy. But it's like, no, like, if you're attracting girls purely upon your job title and money, but you don't know how to interact with like who you are outside of these things, how are you not attracting gold diggers? right? It's such like a double-edged sword because they're saying, wait, you'll find a good girl when you're all settled. How do you identify red flags? How do you build a relationship? How do you establish boundaries? And how do you know what you really want? Are you just supposed to suffer for 30 plus years and then you're like, oh, great, I'm a doctor or a lawyer now or whatever role. Now it's time to meet a girl and get married. So I'm going to walk up to any girl I want and be like, I'm a doctor, I have money, let's get married. And it's like, if that works for you, dude, terrible. It's a terrible game. And the people you're attracting based on that, they don't like you. They like what you can provide is the stupidest thing. And the number one thing is, think about it. If you do choose to get married at 30, usually your Asian parents sets you up with someone or they're like, hey, Dr. Kim has a daughter that's around your age. You should go and get married. And it's like, that's an arranged marriage. So that's one of these models how it's failed us. And if you think about it, if you're an Asian male and you're trying to date, Asian families are super against you just dating. They want you to wait or it's someone they approve of. And you can't just go out to school and ask that cute girl, or you go to a coffee shop and ask that cute girl out. It's usually not supported. They're an outsider. They don't know who they are, right? They might hurt you. They might harm you. And it's not, they don't have the seal of approval from your family. So it's like, they can't date. If you can't interact with girls from a young age, it's like, are you even socialized? You have to know how to interact with the opposite sex outside of a professional manner. You should have female friends. You should understand how to be normal around girls. So when you do get in a relationship, you can just be a dope ass dude. Find the girl that supports your values and you really love and care about, and you guys vibe. That's the girl you date and marry. But it's not like you go out of your way and be like, hey, you will do. like what? No, you should go out and date and find the best possible option for you, right? Outside of looks, find the prettiest girl, find the most charming, the funniest girl, the most brilliant, and that's the girl you date, right? But how do you know what you want if you've never gone out and tasted it, right? I feel like dating, you have to get a lot of what you don't like. But no, go out and date a ton of girls and figure out what you don't like and what you do like. It's like a kind of a painful process, but by going out, you figure out what you don't like or what doesn't vibe. And that's how you figure out what you do like. Usually it's not like, oh, I meet all these amazing people like this trait or this trait. It's usually like, holy shit, I hate this trait. I don't like this. So let me go for the opposite. And then you finally meet that girl in person. You're like, wait, I really like her. She's really cool, right? But it's going out and having abundance. Realize that you are awesome. You're not locked down to this thing. And you don't have to just marry the first person that comes to you. If you wait till you're 30, you don't really know what to do. That's why it'll lead to higher divorces later on. Because if you don't know yourself, if a girl doesn't respect you, you don't respect her, and you don't know how to properly communicate your thoughts and understand how attraction works, I think you're gonna get cheated on or end up in a divorce. I'm not saying this will always be the case. You might get lucky, and if you're 30, if you worked your ass off, you do meet a girl and you end up getting married and have kids, and that's the end of it. Amazing, but usually that's not the case, right? How do you identify red flags if you've never dated anyone? I think that was the hardest thing. Was I tried to go on dates and started 7th grade, going to a movie, or in high school, started going mini golf or getting coffee or going to parties. My mom was like, no, just wait till you're 30, put your head down, don't say anything, and work until you're 30, then put your head up and get married. And I was like, that's the dumbest advice I've ever heard. Because how do you even know how to communicate or even say hi to your girl or ask a girl on a date or even know how to kiss her if you are 30 years old and you've never done it? So I always had to fight my mom on it. I'm really glad because now I can communicate with the opposite sex and just make friends in general, right? It's just a natural skill set that you need in order to survive in this world without it. And I guess another thing that really bothered me of how Asian parenting has failed us is putting your head down and being passive. Obeying. Just be obedient and never speak up and never speak your mind. Don't cause a scene. Don't cause an issue. Don't speak up. Be conflict aversive. And that was the dumbest thing I think Asian parenting has failed, with me at least, is being so passive. For the longest time, I guess I've always been outspoken, right? Because I realized how stupid it was, and it was just I started gaining confidence. But if you're always told to obey and never speak out, change never really happens. Are you just supposed to suffer through life and not say anything, and one day it just solves itself? Or if you know something's inherently wrong for you, you should speak up. Because you got to understand at the end of the day, this life is yours. It's not your family. It is yours. This life is truly yours. I'm not saying go out and do a ton of stupid stuff and harm yourself, but realize that this life is yours. You can do whatever you want. I think a great example is my brother. My brother's a great guy, but he's very, very passive. He doesn't speak up, and he just deals with the pain and lets other people make fun of him, shit on him. And I guess the number one thing is my mom pushed him to become a pharmacist. So he did biology or pre-pharmacy in college. But the thing is, he loved drawing and art. He loves making anime and going to cosplay and being a graphic designer. It would have made more sense for him to become a graphic designer in college because that would make more money than the classic pharmacy route if you're really good at it. He's a phenomenal artist. And it's so sad to me because he spent 4 years doing this biology degree that he absolutely hates and dreads just to please my mother. And in his free time now, all he does is just draw, and he's trying to make up time because he's trying to switch careers right now, and he's significantly older. And it's so unfair to him versus if he just went to college, did what he wanted, and had the support of my mother, he would be like miles ahead of what he's doing. Now he's playing catch up and wasting his time. And that's the issue of not speaking up and standing up for what you believe in at the time, is because the immediate effects aren't there. It's a long-term effects what bothers you. When you just follow your parents' approval, it doesn't really hurt in the short term, but in the long term, you'll resent and regret them, and it's going to impact your life. It's not going to really impact your parents' life. Think about it. He's like 26 trying to change careers and go back to, I don't know, not school necessarily, but develop a portfolio and get like a job that will believe in him. Versus if you went to college, got some really good internships, you'd have an amazing portfolio and work experience now, and eventually he could become a freelance artist, and he'd be doing that by now. Think of the opportunity cost, right? Now he's spending all his time trying to make up. But I guess that's another example. I think for myself, I saw my brother's example because he was 3 or 4 years older than me in school. And I was like, I don't ever want to be like that. So I chose psychology at a polytechnic school and said, fuck you, and I'm going to do my own thing. And it was super risky. Everyone said I was going to be a failed barista, be an unemployed barista after college. And as an Asian guy, that is heavily frowned upon. You know, psychology is a soft science. It's a fake science, right? As they say it. And I got so much crap, and everyone thought I was going to be a failure, despite working my ass off, graduating 7th of my class in high school, getting a magna cum laude in college and stuff like that. It was just like, oh, you're a psych major. And I was like, I'm fine now. I'm happy, and I make good money in consulting now, but I'll follow the beat of my own drum, and it worked out. But it's because I stood up and spoke up, guys. It's because I stood for what I believed in, despite all the hate, especially going against your parents as an Asian. That's like one of the hardest things. Those are the people that raised you, you respect, and you do risk the risk of getting disowned. That's fucking crazy. If your parents love you and they threaten to disown you, fucking hell, are they really your parents, or do they really love you, or is that conditional? I mean, love is unconditional. They can believe and support you in whatever you do, but it can't just be like, you do this, therefore I love you. You know, they manipulate and guilt trip you, which is like super toxic. Super toxic. I mean, my mom kind of did a little bit of that, but she was very rebellious and very liberal in that sense growing up. My mom never pushed me to get good grades. It's actually kind of interesting. She never grounded me. She just said, hey, we immigrated to this country, we're really poor, you should work really hard because, you know, I worked my ass off to get you here. So it's kind of like that. But I guess it kind of came out more in my brother since he was older. Van was like the first round of all this bullshit. And then the second round, she was like, oh my God, I really fucked up. And then I was like, fought her back especially. So it really worked out in my favor. So if this happened to you guys, these are my honest thoughts. Please share your stories. Like, it means the world to me. And like, I just love your support, guys. This gives me passion and hope to get up out of bed every morning to like help you guys. And to think that I have value in in my own opinion and things I say. I didn't realize people ever wanted me to speak or found value from what I spoke about. I always thought I was crazy. I was told I was crazy trying to talk about this. So it means the world to you guys that you guys watch this, so please continue to support. I will do my best to keep making videos for you guys. And if you're gonna do a one-on-one conversation or having one-on-one consultations, please email me, bedroomtalksconsult@gmail.com. It's in the description. I know I'm really busy getting flooded with requests, but if you wanna book a one-on-one with me, please email me. I mean, it's quite affordable, and I hope you guys find some value from it. So thank you again. As always, I wish you the best. Namaste.